Feito por Elas, o podcast que discute o protagonismo das mulheres no audiovisual.
Oi, gente, eu sou Isabel Wittmann e essa entrevista faz parte da cobertura do Feito por Elas da 49ª Mostra Internacional de Cinema de São Paulo. Eu tive a oportunidade de conversar com a cineasta tibetano-canadense Kunsang Kirong sobre o seu filme 100 Sunset. Esse filme se passa em um enorme condomínio de apartamentos de mesmo nome, 100 Sunset, onde uma jovem, Cancel, chega do Tibete para ficar morando com a mãe dela e se adaptar no Canadá. Depois, ela fica amiga de outra jovem, uma outra menina da mesma idade dela, que chega em seguida, a Passang. A diferença é que essa jovem, ela já é casada. A Cancel, ela rouba pequenas coisas valiosas ao redor dela, incluindo uma filmadora. Vocês vão ouvir agora a conversa que eu tive com a diretora Kunsang Kirong sobre o filme.
Thank you for having me in this interview. I must say your film is one of my favorites so far in the festival.
Thank you so much.
I like it very much. And first of all, I think you crafted such an interesting portrait of the Tibetan community in Toronto. So my first question is actually a curiosity I have. Is 100 Sunset a real condo?
Yeah, so 100 Sunset, the name of it was inspired by an apartment building my aunts used to live in Parkdale, Toronto, called Sunset Tower. Mm-hmm. But the apartment complex that we shot in is actually named West Lodge. So it is a real apartment complex, but was renamed for the title of the film.
Okay. Yeah. I've read that most of the cast is of non-professional actors, and watching the movie I felt everything was so fluid, so in tune with the narrative. How was your process and your preparation to work with them?
Yeah, so the entire cast except for Gesar, played by Kyirong, who is Kunsel's uncle, are non-professional actors. So Tenzin Kunsel had immigrated, I think, 8 months prior to me meeting her, and Sunam Triki was a server at a restaurant that I frequented, and I would, once they had agreed, I would meet them every weekend for a year before production.
Wow.
Watching movies, exploring the city, going to eat food, and slowly getting to know these two young women. And through that process, I was editing, the script and the characters in the script to maybe borrow some of their characteristics and portray that in the characters that they would then play.
Right, and your protagonist, she has to deal with a completely new world, new country, such a young age. And how did you choose the themes of the movie? It is something you borrowed from your own experience?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think the themes of the movie are built from observations throughout my life, and people that kind of come in and out of your life in any kind of circumstance. But I think there are particular kind of reoccurring similarities in diaspora, where maybe cousins or a friend of a friend immigrate over and they stay at your house for 6 months, and then they leave and maybe you never really see them again. So this idea of disappearance or friendship being contained within a small portion of time was something that I really wanted to portray. And again, the film isn't necessarily, it's not autobiographical, but not autobiographical,
right.
but influenced by some of these experiences growing up. Yeah.
Of course. And about the friendship of the two girls, I think it's so beautiful because they have completely different experiences, being more or less the same age, but one of them being married, and different backgrounds, I think, but they rely so much on each other, and they discover different things with each other. I think their experiences together is so beautiful, the way you portray it in the movie.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Another thing that strikes me is the handheld camera inside the narrative and the contribution it gives in terms of visuals, because I think the textures of the images are so pretty, and I like the way it registers the water, the snow, the sweater, and so on. What was your approach in terms of cinematography?
Yeah, so with the handheld camera, again, when I would meet the two young women before production, we had incorporated exploring the city and using the same handheld camera. I think at the time it wasn't I didn't really think about it as them getting comfortable using the camera, but just as a way to find a visual voice as we were, doing this together. And during, the filming, all of the handheld camera scenes were scripted in the film, but while shooting, Kunsang would often use it on her own, and I really wanted to, relay this kind of kinetic energy and what it feels like to maybe be young and playful and in the midst of friendship, but also obviously as a tool for voyeurism as well. And I think building the cinematic language with my cinematographer, Nikolai Mikhailov, we really tried to juxtapose the Alexa footage while still being voyeuristic and shooting, off of shoulders and through archways and through lamps. That camera stayed very stationary. So there's this very strong kind of difference between the language of the two and what the handheld camera does in relation to memory and voice and, this young woman's own kind of archiving of her life.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. I like very, very much the texture it adds to the way she sees the world around her, and like the way she constructs her own memory of everything she's living in this new moment of her life. I think it's very beautiful, and I think it's really interesting, like this, I may say, like habits of stealing she has.
Yeah.
I don't know if this have a special meaning. I don't know if you put some meaning in the way she steals the things around her, but like she collects special things, and she puts the way she collects the things and she redistributes it. I don't know if you can explain this a little bit.
Well, I think a part of her, kind of petty thievery is representative of her own kind of internal complex nature, having migrated and not really having a voice. And I think we feel some of that emotion, hopefully, through this tendency that she has, because often the things that she steals are somewhat precious, like this small video camera. There's a sense of curiosity there. And I think later in the film, when she's confronted by Basang at the fashion show party, and she goes into the back room and she's digging through a wallet and rummaging through these old photographs, I think the sense of rejection that she felt in that moment could not really be replaced with these items that she would maybe normally steal. So I really wanted to integrate that behavior to represent the emotional complexity that she would be feeling when immigrating to this new country. Yeah, and a way to connect with people.
Yeah. And about the ambiguity of the relationship between the two girls, I think it's so beautiful when Pasang's husband says, "I love her. I loved her too," because we are not sure of the nature of this love. I think the relationship between the two girls is so intense, and we are not really sure in any moment what kind of feeling they have for each other. And I don't know if you want us to be sure about this feeling they have for each other. Do you have an answer, or even to you this is a no place, this relationship?
Well, I think when building the characters of the two young women, I think in Tibetan society, and I'm sure kind of other cultures as well, friendship can be so close. A friend of mine, a woman, could sit on my lap, and it wouldn't necessarily be sexualized in this very particular way, but there is this sort of ambiguity, I think, being within the dynamic of a relationship like that. And I wanted to express that, not necessarily confusion, but what that might look like and what that might feel like for this other young woman who's still, changing and developing. And within the context of the script and the film, she doesn't change. She doesn't. There's this overarching observation that happens, but her behavior and her relationship to people, I don't think, shifts all too much. And that's something that was important to me when diving into their relationship, and also really thinking about Kunsang's own relationship to herself.
And the website I publish is focused on the work of women in cinema. So this is a question we always ask in our interviews. And is there a film or films directed by women, or a female director in particular that you like and you would like to recommend to our audience?
Yeah, I really love the work of Catherine Brie. So Fat Girl, Romance, her new film last summer. When building this film, I think Fat Girl was also a reference point, because I think she deals with these sort of transgressive stories and complicated relationships that women have with themselves and women have with each other. And I really appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Espero que vocês tenham gostado da entrevista. Eu acho que o 100 Sunset foi um dos filmes mais interessantes que eu assisti durante a mostra. E siga o Feito por Elas nas redes sociais. Nós estamos no Blue Sky, no Instagram, no Letterboxd. É só procurar por Feito por Elas. Avalie o nosso programa no iTunes ou no aplicativo da sua preferência. Além do site e do feed, os nossos programas estão disponíveis em todas as plataformas de podcasts. E se você quiser, pode entrar no nosso grupo de Telegram, que também é conhecido como o melhor lugar da internet para conversar sobre qualquer coisa e não só sobre cinema. Mande os seus comentários para o nosso e-mail, contato@feitoporelas.com.br, ou no nosso site, feitoporelas.com.br. E se quiser apoiar o nosso projeto, nós temos várias opções de financiamento coletivo. Você pode conferir quais estão disponíveis lá no nosso site, né, no feitoporelas.com.br/apoie, ou fazer um Pix avulso, né, no nosso próprio e-mail, que é a nossa chave, né, que é o contato@feitoporelas.com.br. Outra forma de nos ajudar é divulgar o nosso projeto de qualquer maneira, divulgando nossos programas, divulgando as nossas críticas e levando elas para outras pessoas que possam se interessar pelo conteúdo que a gente está produzindo. Valeu, até mais, obrigada pela audiência, até o próximo programa, nos vemos por aí. Entrevista, pesquisa, pauta e apresentação, Isabel Wittmann. Edição de som, Isabel Wittmann. Transcrição e tradução, Isabel Wittmann. Arte da capa, Isabel Wittmann. Vinheta de abertura composta por Felipe Ayres e locução da vinheta, Débora Garcia.